All right. Hello, everybody. We're going to do a really quick, simple little intro to pocket watches, just basics on how to open them, wind them, and most importantly, to search serial numbers so you can get an age on them and other manufacturing details. So, this is a little diagram of the exterior of a pocket watch so you can get familiar with the various parts. The bow is your little metal round piece at the top. The crown is your most important piece for us right now. That's where you actually wind the watch. Then you have the case body, of course, and the latch release is a little plunger button at the top that will open up the case on certain watches. And then this is an interior shot of all of the various parts of the inside of a pocket watch. Although I will say for our purposes, the most important one is the serial number, which is in the top sort of northwestish corner there of the pocket watch diagram. And then how to wind a pocket watch. A lot of you guys, this is super important for when you come across them in the estate, so you can give a little bit of description to your buyers as to whether or not you think it might work, or at least is in a windable condition, which is better than not. So to wind a traditional pocket watch, you take the little crown piece, that's this little part at the top here, and they will all only wind one way. Now, you can sometimes it will turn the other way, but you're not actually winding the clock. And for the health of the clock or watch, it is best to wind it in the direction that it's meant to be wound, which is a clockwise manner. So you're going to turn it to the right, like such. There's one right here that we can practice on, and you can feel what it feels like to wind them properly. And then you have the really, really older pocket watches. These are pocket watches that were made, say, in like mid-1850s and prior. These actually have a small key that you have to use to wind the pocket watch. Some of them are somewhat universal. So if you come across one and it doesn't have the key, but let's say you just so happen to have a spare that you carry around, which you probably don't. I actually have a spare here in the office. So if anybody comes across a key wind pocket watch and you need to wind it to see if it works, you can bring it by here and I'll try my key on it, see if it works. And then we have opening of pocket watches. So there's a couple of different styles and techniques, or not techniques, but ways that they're made. So there's a hinged method where both the back and the front of the case are hinged. And you just use a small case, what's called a case knife, which I think is where actual Case brand started. So you take a case knife and you just put it under that little notch on the side, which is right here on these pocket watches. There's a little notch right there where you can kind of get your thumbnail under or a small knife and pop it open, and that will open up the watch to show you the back, which is where your serial number is going to be. That's your most important part there. And then the other style of pocket watch is the kind that's threaded. These are a little bit more difficult to open because you have to apply some pressure and just kind of push and turn. Sometimes they just start like screwed on too tight and you might not be able to get it off. But most of them you should be able to just push and turn in a clockwise fashion, and it will open up that back. And same for the front of the watch. Not that you would ever really need to take off the crystal cover on top, but same for the front. And then once you get access, like I said, you'll see the serial number, and you can go to Pocket Watch, and you will be able to put in the serial number for just about any pocket watch that was made really up to present, and you will get all of the information that you need to know about the watch to list for your client. So this one in particular here, I just went ahead and looked up the serial number on the one that's in the picture. This one was a Waltham and made in 1899, they estimate. This is a model 1883. It's a 7-jewel pocket watch, and it is not railroad grade. So railroad grade is another really for whatever to a watch that you can look at. That makes it much more valuable than your average pocket watch. So if you do a lookup on it and it comes back as railroad grade, yes, then you know you have a special watch there, because railroad grade watches were made to excuse me, to keep very, very specific time, because it was ultra necessary in a time before standardized timekeeping for railroads to be able to keep correct timetables so that they didn't have crashes. So a railroad grade pocket watch is going to be a much more expensive, valuable watch for you guys in your estate. So the database lookup is extraordinarily helpful when you guys are working with pocket watches. And that is my little spiel for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions about pocket watches, feel free to throw them my way. Oh, just real quick, the ladies' small face watches and other vintage wristwatches wind the same way. They only wind in one direction, and they want to wind sort of in an upward motion, which if you turned it on its side, which would be clockwise. So they wind in a clockwise fashion. And then these also, you can get the backs off of them as well. They also typically have a tiny little notch you can get. I use a box cutter or a small knife. You can just pop that right off, and you'll find a serial number on the back of these, just like you would a pocket watch, and you can look them up the same way. It'll give you the same details about the manufacture date, how many jewels they have. So it's really just cool information. So there we go. That wraps it up. Thank you, guys.